I didn't realize that Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal are all up for sale. Donald Trump has been talking about literally buying these countries and possibly making them states under a unified Greater America. Hell, throw Mexico into the mix and we can even unify all of North America with Canada, the US, and Mexico under the Republic of American governance.
I'm back, Spoil FITTITE, and today we're going to be taking a look at these TikTok videos. Today's my birthday, so as a birthday gift, let's try to get to 1,000 likes this video. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. I'm big 22 like the Taylor Swift song. This video can get extreme, so viewer discretion is advised. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe because as you guys know, these videos get crazy.
I went too deep. Have you heard of the prison planet theory? Well, guess who just learned about it? Yeah. I didn't sleep last night. I did not sleep last night, and if you keep watching this, you're probably not going to sleep either. So here I am, minding my own business on Reddit when I found Escaping Prison Planet. And for the next 3 hours, I dove too deep. Here's the gist of it. Essentially, we're all trapped here on Earth. We're all trapped here, and everything we know about, like all the religions that believe in reincarnation, all these different things, yeah, we keep coming back to this earth because there are astral beings that are harvesting our energy, and they are trapping us here. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy. Well, let's get into the details. Apparently, these beings that are controlling us are these reptilian beings that you always hear about. Well, let's dive into it, In Jainism and Hinduism, they have Nagas, half human, half serpent. The Aztec Empire talked about a serpent-like god that they called Quetzalcoatl. And don't tell me if I pronounced it right or wrong. I don't care, okay? Surely, 2 instances, right? This is just a coincidence. African shamans talk about the Shitari, and it is a race of reptilian beings. The Hopi Indians in North America had the Sheti, which translates to snake brothers. Chinese, Japanese, and Korean legends all talk about the Kappa. And Gnostic texts, which if you don't know about the Gnostics, Gnosis just means knowledge, and basically what the Gnostics believed was after Christ died, you have to have particular knowledge that would save you. Well, the Gnostics, yeah, they believe in archons, which are parasitic entities that feed off of us. We're doing okay? We doing okay? So the question is why? What are these beings doing? Why are they here? Apparently, they have been involved from the foundations of human history in manipulating us, creating this soul trap, harvesting our energy. And what this theory proposes is essentially that light a tunnel that many people have talked about that have had near-death experiences or death experiences. Yeah, it's just to trick us, to essentially wipe us clean, send our souls back, and start the process again. So every major form of religion talks about how we have a soul. Well, we are a soul. We have a body, right? This body is essentially a rental car. And these beings, what they feed off of, what the energy they feed off of is this low vibrational energy. So whether it's stress, whether it's fear, whether it's contention, pain, grief, jealousy, rage, all of it, anxiety, that's what they feed off of. And so they manipulate and they toy with us and they do all these things to create this energy. Now, I don't know if this is true, but that kind of describes the world we live in. It kind of describes it pretty damn well. I mean, look what Tesla says. He says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. What freaks me out the most is there's so many urban legends talking about these freaking reptilians. That motherfucker right there is not real, right? Like, everything that's going on in freaking Miami, like I think we can all agree that there's multiple dimensions, right? People having experiences on psychedelics where multiple people will take the same thing and they all go to another dimension and see the same thing. Like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Explain it to me, please. I'm going way too long with this and I haven't even freaking scratched the surface. But basically, we're just all here. Life is engineered to create this low vibrational energy. And what happens is when we die, when we go through that light tunnel, we're tricked into thinking, hey, you need to go back to Earth. There's more you need to learn, or there's karma you need to resolve, or, there's a higher purpose that you need to do. And we come back and it's the same thing. Listen, I'm a very spiritual person, very spiritual. I believe all of us as humans are connected. I believe you look at every major world religion and there's commonalities, and that it's because it stems from this eternal knowledge. But this freaking scared the crap out of me. Because what if it's all just engineered to trick us? Anyways, I can dive deeper if you guys are interested, but if you're not, whatever. I'll just be sitting up at night, not being able to sleep.
That's crazy. I've actually thought about that before. I was like, What if we're just on some Matrix shit where they're just use harvesting our bodies as energy or our souls as energy, and we just tap in to like this almost like a dream state. If that makes sense. Like if you ever watched The Matrix, you know what I'm talking about. I've thought about that. And I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be crazy, right? What do you guys think about that? Let me know down in the comments.
You know the Mars theory?
That there's aliens on Mars?
Nah, there's a theory that Mars was the original planet that humans were from.
Okay.
Then something happened that we all had to fly to another planet and live on. There used to be like civilization that lived on Mars. Now bag this. On Mars, there's an element on the periodic table called xenon. Xenon on Earth is only found, this is crazy, is only found after a nuclear explosion.
No.
Oh shit, that's not even the sicko mode button.
I said no.
What the hell? And it goes hand in hand now. What if on Mars there was a nuclear warfare, destroyed the whole planet, but people were able to escape just in time, landed on Earth, and they had to restart from nothing.
So we are the aliens.
We're the aliens. What the hell?
Yeah?
It's real shit. Like this element's called xenon. It's prominent after nuclear explosion.
I'm not gonna lie, I remember them saying somewhere that Venus and Mars look like what our planet would look like after like many years after a nuclear explosion, so I wouldn't be surprised.
The laziest country in the world is super relaxed. In this country, people are so chill, they don't even pick up money from the ground. That country is Switzerland. Switzerland is one of the richest countries with high living standards. People earn a lot and work less. Most Swiss people only work 3 days a week. Education from kindergarten to college is free, and healthcare is covered, so no one worries about hospital bills. Saving money, most Swiss don't even think about it. They prefer to enjoy life and spend freely. Swiss banks are famous, but most of the money there belongs to foreigners, not locals. Here's the crazy part. In Switzerland, if you're a legal resident, you get 2,000 Swiss francs, $2,200 every month, even if you don't work. Some people don't even bother to pick up that money. In 2016, the government tried making payments mandatory, but 70% of the Swiss protested, saying they didn't need the government's help. So does this country make you want to move there?
That was such like a Switzerland ad. It was like, it was like, here are the facts about it was like, here are the famous facts about our country. So do you want to come here now? Like, I mean, that's cool, but like, I need to know more than that. A couple of you guys said you guys like my beanie, so I tagged it, and it should pop up somewhere here. If you do like it and you do end up buying it from my channel, I do get a percentage. So if you like it, buy it.
5 Mexican college students were kidnapped in Lagos de Moreno, Mexico, after attending a festival. They were abducted by a group associated with the Jalisco New Generation cartel. The victims were lured into a meeting under the guise of a fake job offer for private security positions, a tactic used by the cartel to recruit new members. After their abduction, a horrifying video emerged, showing the students being brutally tortured and murdered. One of the students was forced to attack and decapitate his childhood friend. The video depicted the gruesome scene inside an abandoned and graffiti-covered property. Authorities later discovered human remains, including charred skulls, at this location. Witnesses reported that armed men kidnapped the students, and their families lost contact with them after the abduction. It's worth noting that the call center where the victims initially sought employment was allegedly operated by cartel members, who used fake job offers to force individuals into their criminal organization. Those recruited were often given dangerous tasks, such as working in areas where rival cartels operated. The victims came from various states in Mexico. As of now, no arrests have been made.
It's just a cigarette, and it cannot be that bad. Honey, don't you love me, and you know.
This Mackenzie Shirilla situation is wild. She's this 19-year-old Ohio teen who last summer was driving in a Toyota Corolla with her boyfriend Dominic Russo and his friend Davian Flanagan. And then when the car turned onto the road, it suddenly accelerated, jerking left and right until it barreled head-on into a brick wall at 100 miles per hour. And when first responders arrived, the 2 men were pronounced dead. At the scene, Mackenzie was found unconscious and trapped inside the mangled car. But instead of getting hit with manslaughter charges, she got slapped with multiple counts of murder. That's because prosecutors allege that this was no accident, saying that she actually crashed the car on purpose because because she was trying to kill her boyfriend with whom she had a tumultuous relationship and that his friend was just collateral damage. But then pointing to evidence like a computer analysis showing that she floored it without ever making an effort to slow down, going so fast her fuzzy Prada slipper was found stuck to the gas pedal. Plus, a few days before the crash, Mackenzie took the same obscure route, apparently plotting her crime. And so all of that leading to this week where she was found guilty on all counts, and the judge saying she had a mission and she executed it with precision. And you can see her sobbing uncontrollably as the judge reads her verdict.
Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful.
Crazy risk to take. Either she wanted to just, she definitely wanted to hurt herself with the dude. Because I'm just like, dude, if you wanted to take someone out, why take yourself out with them? Unless you want to go out too. You know what I'm saying? So I was just kind of like, did she do it to take him out or take them both out? Either way, if she did it on purpose, that's still crazy. Like, what are you doing?
An Australian man who sent 23 satchels of feces and urine to Leonardo DiCaprio and Jared Leto has appeared in court. Veronica Gray from Western Australia was alleged to have sent frozen packages to the actors, detailed as Valentine confectionery. The international parcels were sent in February and were only discovered when one of them ruptured and leaked on an Australia Post worker. The man pleaded guilty to 5 charges of using a postal service to menace, harass, or cause offence, which the prosecutor said carries a maximum of 12 months jail, a $16,000 fine, or both, but Gray was given a $3,000 good behaviour bond. A psychiatric report stated Gray had acted on the idea without considering the consequences due to a mental impairment. His lawyer said Gray shares the same passion for the environment as the actors and intended to magnetise them to Australia. The court ultimately ruled it wasn't motivated by malice, but that a penalty was needed for general deterrence of male offences.
That's extreme. I mean, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. It's like, what, almost, it's pretty much 10 days away from now. Are you going to do that for your ex? You know, everyone that's watching this video, y'all should do that to your, no, I'm joking, don't do that. That's so weird.
2 words, buckle up. 29-year-old Christine Chubbuck did something on live television that traumatized an entire community. Hi, my name is Ethan, and here's everything you need to know in under 1 minute. Christine was hired at a news station called WXLT-TX, and she was later given her own show called Suncoast Digest, where she talked about recent crimes. A little bit about her: she was severely depressed and tried to unalive herself in 1970, but failed. She even made several comments on air about taking her own life, and her news partner just awkwardly moved on. On the morning of July 15th, 1974, she confused her coworkers by saying that she had to open up for Suncoast Digest, which she normally did not do.
The most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first in living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide.
She then drew a weapon, unalived herself, and the broadcast rapidly went black.
Bother you, they never bother me. I feel happy and fine.
I will be showing the video, but nonetheless, hi, my name is Ethan, and here's everything you need to know in under 1 minute. In September of 2017, 31-year-old Laura Wallen vanished into thin air. Her boyfriend Tyler Tessier had played the part of the worried boyfriend desperate for answers. However, he was living a double life. He had a fiance, and he feared that Laura would expose her pregnancy. The night of her unaliving, Laura texted her friend and stated, "Tyler has taken me to an open field in Damascus. I'm not sure why we're here, but it's in the middle of nowhere." Her body was found a few days later. Sam and Colby eventually uploaded a video where they were in the same area at the same time, and they captured a woman begging for help. Here's the video.
What the? Did you get that? Yeah, I got that. Somebody is screaming. Someone's screaming bloody murder. Whoa. Guys, what the you hear that? Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm pretty sure I've seen that video before, but that's insane. Imagine you're in the woods and you heard that. Oh, nah. Like, what would you even think that is? Because sometimes you hear something like that, you're like, oh, it could be a deer or like a coyote having a fight or something. I mean, nah, you definitely could tell the difference between like an animal and a human scream. So you definitely might have knew it was a human.
At 911, what's the location of your emergency?
I just got hit by a train.
Okay, where are you?
I'm off the path of the park in downtown Melbourne.
Okay, were you walking or were you driving?
No, I was walking.
Okay, but you're okay? Like, you sound like you're...
No.
Okay, are you still on the tracks?
No.
Is there anybody around you that you can...
I don't see
flag down?
No.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to try and figure out where you are, okay?
Okay.
And you're off the track, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you, sir?
17.
And what part of your body was hurt?
My legs.
Okay. Are they broken?
I think it cut them off.
It cut them off?
Damn, the video suddenly ended right there, but the dispatcher better than me. I'd have been like, what? It did what to your legs, bro? Yo, a leg cut off? They both sounded so like relaxed and calm. It was weird. Like, that was a little bit like, what? Like, I feel like he should have been freaking out a little bit more, but good for him for like staying cool that I think both his legs are gone, because he said legs instead of leg.
911, what is the location of your
Oh,
emergency?
please.
Hello?
I had a boa constrictor stuck to my face.
Ma'am, you have a what?
Boa constrictor.
You have a boa constrictor stuck to you?
It's a house. I'm outside with it.
You're outside with a boa constrictor stuck to your face?
Yes.
Okay.
I just rescued it yesterday, please.
You arrested the boa constrictor yesterday?
I rescued it.
You rescued it. Okay. Stand.
Yeah.
All right, stay on the line, please. Ma'am, I've notified the ambulance. Is the
Please, Rudy Farias on my nose.
Ma'am, I've notified the ambulance and the fire and the police department. So the boa constrictor has a hold of your nose?
Yes.
Can you pry its jaw open if you pinch
No,
its
I'm
jaw?
trying. There's blood everywhere.
Okay, and its jaw won't open?
No.
Okay, how big of a snake are we talking, ma'am?
She's like 5.5 feet.
5.5 feet? And you said you rescued it yesterday?
Yes, I rescued two.
You rescued two. Is the other one put away?
Yes.
Okay.
All of my snakes are put away.
For a sec, I was like, what is a boa constrictor or whatever she was saying? And I was like, oh, a snake? You're bugging. I remember one of my like last videos. I think it was like probably 5 to 10 videos from this video. I was like, moms love to like save or like go up and pet really. There's a word I'm looking for. Like, I guess you could say like domestic animals or something. Cause like, why are you saving a snake, dude? Like, let the snake do its thing. I'm being honest. Maybe boa constrictors aren't like actual bad snakes. I mean, I don't know, but from that video we just heard, it doesn't really look like it.
Scariest videos I found online. We bet you can't watch the whole video.
The last one scares me.
A woman is hearing weird noises in her home. She goes to investigate. This is what happens. A man sees another strange man on the road. Things get really weird.
Buddy, how you doing? Oh, just some cruisers, man. That's crazy. Guys crawling at me like a cat. What's up, dude?
Let's say that this thing grabs you and says it won't let you go unless your third act leaks all the photos on their phone right now. Let me know who it is and let me know if you think you're saved or doomed. A man hears something in the drain cover and decides to check it out. This is what happens.
No, yo no sé.
Should I do a part 4?
YTV News understands that 2 people have been arrested in Pakistan as police hunt for the father, stepmother and uncle of 10-year-old Sara Sharif. She was found dead in a property in Woking earlier this month. Sejal Karia has been following the case. And Sejal, just talk us through how this police investigation is progressing.
Well, it's now been almost 2 weeks since Sara Sharif's body was found alone at the family home in Woking in Surrey after her father made an emergency call to Surrey police from Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Officers then found the 10-year-old with extensive injuries, which the police said had been caused over a long period of time. Now, Pakistan police have now told us that they've arrested 2 people, both believed to be close relatives of Sara's father, Irfan Sharif. He, his partner Bainash Batul and his brother Faisal Malik left for Pakistan the day before Sara's body was found. A manhunt to find them there is still underway. We've been told that the arrests were made by Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency late last night in the northeastern city of Jhelum, and that the 2 relatives have been taken to a secret location for questioning. Inquiries, we understand, are also underway to locate and speak with Beinash Batul's family, who are believed to be in the city of Mirpur, about an hour's drive from Jhelum.
This is breaking news about Rudy Farias, the Texas teen who went missing 8 years ago and was just found. Apparently, he was never missing, and said his mother was holding him hostage. Rudy reportedly said that his mother forced him to play daddy, drugged him, manipulated him, and abused him the entire 8 years he was missing. A lot of information was just released about an hour ago at a press conference, but let's go back to 2015. On March 6th, 17-year-old Rudy Farias was last seen walking his 2 dogs in northeast Houston. His mother said he never returned home, but they found the dog safe. Authorities and volunteers searched for him, but they couldn't find him. Rudy's mother, Janie Santana, told police that he suffered from depression and PTSD since losing his brother in a motorcycle accident in 2011. A year before Rudy disappeared, his father, who was a Houston police officer, was facing an internal affairs investigation, and he took his own life while he was being investigated. Fast forward 3 years to 2018. And relatives of Rudy call police and say they saw Rudy behind another relative's house. Police show up and search, but they don't locate him. 5 years later, Rudy, who is now 25 years old, is found unresponsive outside of a church. According to Janie, her son had cuts and bruises all over his body and blood in his hair. She said her son had been badly beaten and abused. Janie also claimed her son believed he's 14 now and has a completely different identity. But get this, Rudy was found with his mother's credit card that was issued 2 years ago. So how did he get that card if he's been missing for 8 years, like she claims? If that's not weird enough, neighbors of Rudy came forward to the media and said that Rudy was never missing, and he's been living in this house with Janie the entire time. And they know that because Rudy would occasionally walk over to their garage and hang out. When confronted about this, Janie said that the neighbors were confusing Rudy with her nephew. But when they looked at a picture of her nephew, they were like, no, that's not who we saw Rudy. So police want to interview Rudy and find out what has happened the past 8 years. But Janie is saying that her son is nonverbal, which is very far from the truth. Because this morning, Quinnell X talked to Rudy himself for about an hour and a half. Quinnell X is a community leader and counselor, and he went to mediate an interview between the family and police. When everyone arrived to the hotel, Rudy asked if he could speak to Quinnell alone, away from his mother. And after being separated from his mother, Rudy apparently went into detail about his mother's abuse, and said he was tired of living like a slave. I'm about to play some clips from the press conference that just dropped an hour ago, and just a warning, these details are extremely disturbing.
I honestly believe, based on what he said to us, she was drugging the hell out this kid. And she convinced him that he was in trouble for initially running away. She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be the husband. She would force him to sleep in the bed with her.
Go to part 2 if you want to see his entire statement. It's extremely disturbing.
This is the last photo ever taken of 12-year-old McKay Everett before he was abducted and murdered by a family friend. I'm going to warn you, this is a very disturbing story, so viewer discretion is advised. This is McKay Everett, and in 1995, he was spending the night home alone while his parents were at a business meeting. Now, in his youth, McKay was trained excellently by his parents in safety. They taught him to never in any circumstance, even for police officers, open the door for a stranger. They had an extremely expensive high-tech security system installed in their home to prevent people from breaking in, and his parents had only been out of the house for a few hours without him. This was their house in small-town Conroe, Texas. It was a lavish home built in the middle of the woods where people really weren't expected to be in the middle of the night. But when McKay's parents, Paulette and Carl, called home to find out how their son was doing and no one answered, they began to grow gravely concerned. That's when Carl decided to make the trip home, and he found McKay was nowhere to be seen. At around the same time that Carl was searching for his son, a phone call came through on the home phone. And when Carl picked up the phone, the person on the other end of the line told him that they had his son and that they were demanding money, cash, in order for him to be brought home alive. Now, after all was said and done, there was a massive search held for McKay, and sadly, he was never brought home alive. His body was discovered days later in rural Whiskey Bay, Louisiana. He had been tortured, shot in the head, and left for dead. But who possibly could have carried out this horrific crime? Well, in comes family friend Hilton Crawford, aka Uncle Hilty. Now, Hilton Crawford was a close friend of the Everetts. He knew the family very, very well. And in fact, his wife taught school at the same elementary school that Paulette, McKay's mom, taught at. Like I said, Hilton Crawford was close friends with the Everetts, and young McKay even called him Uncle Hilty. And that's why people assume when Hilton came to the back door of the Everett home on that fateful night in 1995, McKay opened the door. There's absolutely no way that McKay would have ever expected that this man who he knew so well was about to abduct and murder him.
So after removing McKay from the back door of the house pictured here, Hilton took him and started driving. That's when this woman, Irene Flores, placed the ransom call. Apparently, Hilton Crawford had paid her some money and said that he was about to come into a lot of money, and all he wanted her to do was place this call for him. And while all this was going on, young McKay was stuffed into the back of Hilton Crawford's car. Now, eventually, Hilton brought him out to Whiskey Bay, and that's where the murder took place, and nothing was ever gained from any of this. Obviously, Hilton Crawford didn't make a cent from this horrific crime, and he was sent to prison and eventually executed by lethal injection in the early 2000s. But there really is so much more to this story, so many things that happened along the way, things that don't make sense, possible people that were involved that were never held accountable for their actions. It's just crazy. And recently, for the podcast that I co-host with my wife, Courtney, we interviewed McKay's mom, Paulette. And we sat her down and were able to ask her so many different things about the crime, how she felt, her experience going through all of this, and all of the accomplices that Hilton Crawford may have had in carrying this out that she thinks are going to be brought to justice soon. If you want to listen to that full episode, it's a 2-part episode. It's out now on our podcast, Murder in America. You can look up the show on any streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We worked really hard to bring this story of McKay to life, so if you're interested in all of this, you can go give it a listen now.
I didn't realize that Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal are all up for sale. Donald Trump has been talking about literally buying these countries and possibly making them states under a unified Greater America. Hell, throw Mexico into the mix and we can even unify all of North America with Canada, the US, and Mexico under the Republic of American governance. But seriously, is it even possible to just buy a country in 2025? Yeah, actually it kind of is, and we've been doing it all throughout history. This isn't even the first time that America tried to buy Greenland. Trump himself suggested it in 2019. They also tried back in 1910 and again in 1946 when President Truman offered $100 million, which is $1 billion in today's money, to buy it off Denmark, which Denmark currently owns Greenland, just FYI, but they can technically declare their independence whenever they want. But since Greenland has a population of just about 56,000 people, which is literally half the population of a single neighborhood in Manhattan, they kind of rely on the $500 million they get from Denmark every year to survive. Now, the US and Denmark have actually done business before when it comes to buying countries. The Danish West Indies were a series of islands in the Caribbean that Denmark owned up until 1917, when the US bought them for $25 million in gold coins and renamed them the US Virgin Islands, which we still have today. Then there's also Alaska, which belonged to Russia up until 1867, when the US bought it for $7.2 million because Russia sorta needed the money. But these are all just territories. How exactly do you buy a whole ass country? Like, what even happens? It's sorta like buying land and also being able to tell everyone on that land how they should act and what you'll give them in return for cooperating. And dozens of other implications that you would never think of. Well, can you buy a country? Like, if you were a billionaire with enough money, could you just step in, present an offer they can't refuse, and boom, it's yours? Not quite. It's pretty complicated, but it all falls back to acquiring something called the allodial title of the land, which means you own the land outright with no higher entity owning it above you. When you buy land anywhere in the world today, what you're really buying is something called the fee simple title, which means the country the land is in still technically kinda owns it. You can do and build whatever you want on this land as long as you obey their laws. Allodial titles of the land aren't exactly available anymore today, but is actually how countries like Liechtenstein were purchased back in the 1700s. And most of the time, only a country itself can really hold or buy allodial titles. So in order to buy a country, first you gotta be a country. And this is how you can start your own country legally. The first thing you need is land. And we already have our first problem. If you look at the world, you'll see that pretty much all land has already been claimed by other nations. Since you can't really buy any of these countries until you are your own country, the only other way to claim any of this land for yourself would be by force, aka invade. Even if you have enough money to fund a guerrilla military force to invade a small country, let's focus on doing this peacefully. In this case, we can look for tiny areas of land that lay on the border of two different countries that neither of them claim, also known as terra nullius, Latin for nobody's land, and is actually how the micronation of Liberland was formed, a section along the border of Croatia and Serbia that neither of them claimed. There's also the region of Bir Tawil between Egypt and Sudan, which remains unclaimed to this day, but it's a barren wasteland of sand with no
water, so good luck with that. You can try to claim a part of the Mary Bird Land in Antarctica, which is technically unclaimed, but you'd be breaching the Antarctic Treaty, which will lead to complications. Despite that, Antarctica actually already has a few micronations of its own that people have tried to claim. The Duchy of Campania, the Grand Duchy of Flandrensis, and West Arctica are all real Antarctic micronations, but none of these are taken very seriously. But I'll show you how your country can be. We can go remote, super remote, and there are actually many islands in the Pacific Ocean that remain unclaimed to this day that you can try to take for yourself. Given how far and isolated they are, it'll be quite difficult to bring any required goods and services there to set up basic infrastructure, so again, good luck. We can always build our own country. As per Sealand, a micronation off the shore of England that consists of a platform on two pillars in the ocean. As long as you're at least 12 miles past the shore of any other country, you're technically in international waters and are good to go. Either an oil rig type base like Sealand or even a floating nation on an enormous barge, which surprisingly no one has done yet. If you happen to have an extra $1 trillion laying around, you can always just buy dirt and pour it into the shallowest part of the sea to physically create your own island from scratch. Or if you have the time, you can always wait a couple 100,000 years for volcanoes to form new islands in the ocean and claim that. You can always go the Atlantis route and build a city directly on the sea floor. Although I'm not sure if our technology is there yet, there aren't any laws that say we can't. Well, there are your options. Once you have your land, you can move on to step 2, establish a permanent population, which there are technically no minimums for how many people are needed to start a country. The micronation of Forvik on a remote island near Scotland has a population of about 4 plus. But they do need to live there for more than half the year, so go find some willing new citizens. Then you need to determine your system of government. You want to be a democracy, a dictatorship, maybe go back to monarchy, or maybe even create a whole new system. Perhaps just go full-blown libertarian and let everyone govern themselves. Obviously, you need to create your own flag, which there aren't really any strict rules for, so go crazy. And then you need to write a constitution, or whatever you choose to call it, which is really just a document that summarizes the laws, principles, and entities that make up the government in your country. All right, we're making progress. But now we need the one thing to even be up for consideration as an independent nation on an international scale. A representative that is your country's direct line of communication with others, your Secretary of State. Technically speaking, having a military, social services, and even basic infrastructure are not requirements to be a country, but a Secretary of State is necessary. Find someone that's willing to do the job and they're in. Any country that wants to talk to you has to go through them first. Now the biggest and hardest part of the whole process: gain international recognition. You need to formally declare independence in order to be internationally recognized as a sovereign state. To do this, you basically just have to make friends with other countries' secretaries of state so they take you seriously, which is kind of what Taiwan did, or tried to do. Despite calling itself independent since 1949, to this day there are only 12 countries that recognize it as such. So this process may take a really long time. Let your secretary go on a decades-long, possibly even generational world tour to make friends with other world government leaders to build your case. Then when you have enough people who like you on your side, you may want to consider joining the UN for further credibility. To do that, you just need to write a letter to the Secretary General of the UN to request membership. Literally, that's all you need to do. You can easily find the mailing address online too. If you win at least a 2/3 majority vote by the Security Council, which are these 15 countries here, and you only have to win over 10 of them, congrats, you're in. You're now part of the UN. Now, you don't have to be part of the UN to be an independent nation, but it sure helps your case. The end goal here is just to be recognized by other real countries as being your own independent nation. As there are small countries like Vatican City, Taiwan, and Kosovo that aren't part of the UN, but are still globally recognized as sovereign states by at least one other major country. This process is called diplomatic recognition and requires an official spokesperson of a country to make a statement and say they recognize a country as independent. In essence, an invite-only club where you need to get referred by a member of the club to join, and that's all it takes. There are actually many micronations around the world, like Liberland, West Arctica, and Sealand. The problem with these is that none of them are formally recognized by any other country, except often by each other. So they're missing that final and crucial step of international recognition in their journey. But after all this, if you finally manage to start your own country and gain that coveted international recognition, we can buy a country, right? You just need a couple $1 billion to even start discussions on buying the smallest country there is, and likely no one will take your offer seriously. Even if a government somehow agrees to sell you their country, then you still need to gain the approval of the people living there to complete a peaceful transfer. And that, my friends, is how you can buy a country. Clearly, there's a reason that regular people never do this.
Some dude in my comment, like I think 2 weeks ago, it was like Trump was joking when he was talking about buying countries or something like that. And it does not seem like he's joking. Like, he really seems like he's using financial or economic warfare to try to either, one, get businesses to move from Canada into the US, or get Canada to merge with the US. And it's an interesting tactic he's using, but like, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you had $5 billion, right? Honestly, let's say you had unlimited money and you could buy a country, would you do it? Let me know down in the comments.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.